In 1590, on the shores of North Carolina, a small English colony was founded. It was called Roanoke, and it was the first attempt by England to establish a permanent settlement in North America. But when Governor John White returned from England 3 years later, he found the village empty without a trace of the 117 settlers who had lived there. But the details of what he found revealed even deeper secrets than you can imagine. So let's dive into this week's mystery. The year is 1587, and England has been ruling the seas for quite some time now. While the country has a vast empire, there's always room for more. England's Queen Elizabeth I hears reports about the riches of the New World and wants a piece of the pie. She sponsors Sir Francis Drake to raid Spanish settlements, treasure ships, and settlements. This is the beginning of an age of exploration where rival countries race to stake their claims on new lands. At the time, Spain and England were bitter enemies. Each claimed superiority and fought over land and resources. Spain believed its divine right made it the superior nation and that it could conquer and control anyone it wanted. This was backed by the power of the Catholic Church and wealth earned from trade with the Americas. Meanwhile, England wanted its share of the spotlight. Queen Elizabeth I was determined to make her country the dominant world power, while the Church of England and Spanish Catholicism were bitter rivals. She took a middle ground approach and established state control of religion instead of relying on papal authority. The competition was fierce and both powers raced to secure dominance. With the war between Spain and England heating up, Queen Elizabeth asked Sir Walter Raleigh to find a new island and start an English colony there. With the establishment of the Roanoke colony in 1585 on Roanoke Island, off the coast of present-day North Carolina, England planted its flag in North America. The colony was named after the powerful chief of the local Native American tribe, Windjuna. But this new colony didn't last long. In 1586, the English ships that brought supplies to the colony were captured by the Spanish. The following year, the English destroyed the colony to prevent it from falling into Spanish hands. Just 2 years later, though, and with the Spanish threat gone, a new group of colonists arrived under the leadership of Governor John White. Among them was White's daughter and son-in-law, who had come to help establish a new settlement. But the colony wouldn't be easy to establish. These 117 settlers landed near the previous colony and began construction of their new settlement. They farmed the land and hunted wild game for food. At first, the settlers were able to get by, and many felt that this colony would become a success. But soon enough, supplies from England began to dwindle, and people began to get sick. Months went by, and the English ships carrying new supplies did not arrive. As winter approached, the settlers were running low on food and conditions were becoming desperate. At this point, the colony split into two groups. The first group wanted to abandon the settlement and return to England. The other thought the colony could be saved if they integrated with the Croatan tribe. The leader of the Croatan, Chief Aquasco, had been helpful to the colony in the past, offering them food and teaching them how to survive in the area. He agreed to help the colonists, and they joined together to survive. Supplies finally arrived in June 1590, but the colonists had disappeared. When Governor White returned to England in 1587, he found that the village had been abandoned. No one was left behind. The houses were burned, and only the charred remains of their homes were left standing. It seemed as though the settlers had run away, leaving everything behind. But there was something odd about the way the settlement had been abandoned. One of the most peculiar things about the discovery of the abandoned village was the absence of bodies. There were no signs of a battle and no evidence of disease or famine. Everyone was gone. And although nothing suggested foul play, it still raised concerns. Had the settlers been attacked by hostile forces and carried away? Were they lost at sea? Or had they simply fled the colony out of desperation? This lack of answers fueled speculation. People wondered if the colonists had been taken captive, slaughtered, or maybe they just vanished into thin air. What's most puzzling is that no one knows exactly what happened to them. Some researchers believe they integrated with the Croatoan tribe, while others think they were taken by Spanish forces. There's even a popular legend that says the settlers were all taken by fairies. Whatever happened to them, they disappeared without a trace, leaving behind an enduring mystery. As explorers continued to search for the missing colonists, they found strange clues that hinted at what might have happened. They came across various pieces of evidence that gave insights into the fate of the settlers. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence was the word Croton, carved into a tree near the settlement. The carving suggested that the colonists had relocated to the nearby Croton Island and joined the friendly natives there. However, despite extensive searches, no trace of the colonists was ever found on the island. Another piece of evidence was the condition of the settlement itself. When the explorers arrived, they found that the buildings had been abandoned but were still in good repair. There were no signs of a struggle or a hasty departure. Everything appeared to be in order, as if the residents had simply vanished into thin air. However, the most perplexing detail was the fences. Every single fence around the village had been removed, as if the inhabitants had planned to leave. But why would they have dismantled their fences? This detail didn't fit with the theory that they'd been attacked or that they'd been taken away. It suggested that the colonists had left on purpose, but why? There are two theories about what happened to the colonists. The first is that they ran away. Unable to bear the hardship of the colony any longer, they left their homes and possessions behind and fled into the wilderness. This theory is supported by the fact that no bodies were ever found, and there was no evidence of violence or foul play. It's possible that they joined the Croatoan tribe and lived out the remainder of their lives in relative peace. The second theory is that the colonists were taken away by a mysterious force. This could have been an unknown group of people, or even supernatural beings like fairies. This theory is supported by the fact that the village was completely abandoned, and there was no trace of the colonists anywhere. If they'd been taken by a group of people, then why would they have removed all the fences? Did they know they were being watched and wanted to avoid detection? Or was there another reason entirely? It's hard to say what really happened to the colonists. All we have are a few pieces of evidence and a lot of speculation. But one thing is certain: whatever happened to them, they vanished without a trace. Now it's time to vote in the comments section. Which theory do you think is correct? You think the colonists left the settlement on purpose? Or were they taken away by a mysterious force? Vote using the number next to each theory. For example, write number 1 if you think the colonists left the settlement on purpose, or number 2 if you think they were taken away by a mysterious force. Make sure to write a comment so we can see your reasoning. We may feature your comment in our follow-up episode. And speaking of follow-up episodes, that brings us to another exciting announcement. We've decided to make our premium episodes ad-free. That means you'll never hear ads before or during our premium episodes. Instead, we'll release them with minimal interruption. To access these episodes early and support us, sign up for a platform today. You'll get access to exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. If you sign up using the link in the description below, you'll also get a special gift. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to leave your votes in the comments section below. We'll use them to pick our favorite comment to feature in the follow-up episode. Till then, stay curious and keep asking questions.